So, since I talked about Norwegian Wood recently, I decided I wanted to talk about another novel by Haruki Murakami. I liked that video so well that I thought I would discuss another one of his novels. This time I'm talking about Sputnik, Sweetheart. This is a little more surreal by him, but it's also firmly grounded in the everyday, like a lot of his writing also is. So the premise of Sputnik, Sweetheart is it's about two writers. The protagonist and narrator of the story is known simply by the name of Kay. And he's a college student, or was a college student, and he's now like a student teacher. And he is in love with a female friend of his named Sumire, who is this kind of free-spirited, eccentric, but very meticulous in her personality kind of girl. And she doesn't reciprocate his feelings for him. And he's been in love with her since they met in college, and while they're very different people, he feels like she compliments him, and he feels deeply for her, in a way that like he just wants to be with her all the time. And she kind of just obliviously kind of goes through life, not really aware of him or his feelings for her. And one day Sumire falls in love herself with this really successful businesswoman that they meet at this formal engagement. And the businesswoman is so taken with Sumire's like forthright and eccentric personality, she hires her as a personal assistant. The two of them go off to Greece, and then the businesswoman contacts Kay saying that Sumire has gone missing mysteriously. He goes out to Greece to find her, and there's kind of these slight, strange, surreal things that happen, but nothing like totally off the wall like some of other Murakami's writing, but more kind of ethereal. And it's kind of just a story about love. It's a story of reciprocated love and how it feels and what it's like and what it does to people who go through it, and not only on Kay's end but also how it affects Sumire. And because the businesswoman doesn't return Sumire's romantic feelings, she just sees her as a friend, much like how Sumire sees Kay. It's kind of a love triangle story, but one that's very interesting and unique. There's not another story like this one. It's like everything Murakami writes. He takes simple story ideas, simple premises, and makes them engaging. He writes compelling characters and writes odd, out of the ordinary stories that engage the reader and make you, want to see what happens next. Murakami has a very simplistic writing style. It's very straightforward. The characters speak in very straightforward dialogue. Yet it's very engaging. Like, there's something about the simplicity of it that makes you intrigued. And then he'll add these little surreal touches, to these ordinary, everyday people and their situations that make it all the more interesting. And this is what happens in Sputnik, Sweetheart. It's actually one of my favorite Murakami novels. The man is my favorite novelist. I've read everything by him at least a few times. And while I love all of his novels and his short stories equally, I have to admit there are some I like a little more. And Sputnik, Sweetheart it's up there. It's one of my very, very favorites. The thing that really gets me about it is it's so emotional. And that's the thing, like, Murakami, comes off, like, when you read his style, is very dry and forthright and very quiet. But there's beauty in his writing, and there's strong emotional resonance in it. Like, when I read something by him, specifically when it was really, like, more powerful novels, like Norwegian Wood, or The Wind-Up Bird Chronicle, or Dance, 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 anything like, and those really, really standout novels, like, he packs a punch. And like all of Murakami's protagonists, I see myself strongly in Kay. Like, I have a lot of similarities with him. And while some of them may not be overt, they're there, especially just his emotions and how he feels for Sumire. I definitely relate to that. There's been one or two Sumerays in my own life that I can definitely relate to. It's, there's a lot going on beneath the surface, in these themes of honesty, sincerity. The theme, there's also the theme running through it of authenticity, of being the authentic you, of not compromising what you do and who you are for other people. This is talked about in their writing, because both Kay and Sumire are writers. And Sumire is it's talked about how she's a very kind of just free-willing kind of writing style. She'll write these long, unfinished novels that are just kind of patchworks of various different styles, genres, and techniques. And it reflects her kind of like eclectic and, magpie taking from this and that kind of personality and just doing whatever she thinks is interesting. And Kay, pragmatically points out that no one's going to like that. No one's going to enjoy reading her writing since it's so kind of off the wall and all over the place, and takes these disparate things and kind of sews them together into this kind of narrative quilt. And she's like, who gives a fuck? I'm just writing because I want to. and that theme runs throughout the whole novel of Sumeri's just trying to be her authentic self, and Kay even comes into conflict at a few points where he has to kind of face who he really is and how he really feels and why he feels it, and honestly own up to it and just be who he is. The act of writing itself is talked about quite a bit in this novel. There's a lot of in-depth talk about writing, the act of writing, why we write, and the pleasure that comes from writing, and the pleasure that comes from telling stories, which is something Murakami obviously enjoys. He's a very prolific writer. He's been putting out novels and short stories steadily since the 70s, and he still has stuff coming out. He has a new novel that is about to be translated into English this November, which I can't wait to read. You can tell there's a passion and joy in writing that he has when you read his writing. You can tell that he just loves to spin an interesting yarn for to kind of share these interesting thoughts, and even put some philosophical content into it. Because that's something I don't feel like he's really talked about much, is his philosophic side. Everything he writes has a philosophical or metaphysical kind of quality to it. Sometimes it's more overt in novels like Kafka on the Shore, which is very interesting, but very confusing and very, very metaphysical. But even the more simplistic stories like Sputnik Sweetheart or Norwegian Wood have tinges of that kind of profundity of what does it mean to be alive? And what gives our life meaning? And do we pick meaning ourselves, or or does everyone have an inherent meaning? Which Murakami and myself definitely go with the former. We make our own. But there's a lot of philosophical quality in his writing, and it's something I don't feel like a lot of people talk about much. I think that people tend to focus on his penchant for using surrealism in his stories, his dreamlike situations characters get into, his blending of the mundane and the fantastic. These are more what people and critics focus on when they think Murakami, but they don't really talk about his work being questioning everything, questioning the nature of reality, questioning the nature of dreams, and what does it mean, how real are dreams, and how real is reality, and how stable is reality, which comes up again and again in his writing. If you read enough Murakami, you definitely notice certain themes running throughout his things. He likes certain things he likes, and he likes them a lot. Especially music, which I can relate to that. I'm a huge music person. And music is a constant in his novels and stories. Characters are always listening and referring to music. They're always talking about listening to jazz or classic rock, throughout his writing. And it's all music that I like myself. I feel like he and I are kindred souls in a way. So it's definitely a great novel. I definitely recommend it. There's not really a lot going on in it. It's a very simple story. It's a very short novel, too. basically the brief synopsis is kind of what it's just about. I mean, there's a few other things that happen, but they're not really part of the main story. They're just kind of things within the main story. I mean, that's not to say, though, it's not interesting or not important or not compelling, because it's a very engaging story. And its brevity only makes it feel like it goes at a fast clip when you read it. So, but I definitely highly recommend it. Then again, I recommend anything by Murakami. He's just a very good writer. I don't know. He's known mainly amongst the literary crowd, and critics all like him. And, but I feel like a lot of the average readers, like a lot of people who are just kind of ordinary people who just read for fun, don't really know who he is. He's more kind of known for being a literary guy. But I feel like he has such a universal style and universal quality. It could appeal to anybody. I think people who read Dean Koontz and Stephen King can appreciate him just as much as people who tend to read Jonathan Latham or John Irving or whoever. I definitely think he has a just universal audience. Yeah, just I don't think his audience, all of them, has found him yet, which is another reason I kind of wanted to talk about him, just to kind of get him out there a little more. I kind of want everybody to know who he is because he's so good. Like he's kind of like he's just he's kind of like how I talk about Stephen King. Or especially how I talk about R.L. Stine over and over and over. It's because I just really like their stuff. And I want to talk about it. I want you guys to read it. I want you guys to find it and read it and then tell me what you think. I just want more people to be talking about these guys. So that's kind of why I bring them up again and again and again. But anyway, I digress. Point is, I can't talk. Sputnik Sweetheart is a great novel. I highly recommend it, and I feel like it's something even Murakami fans don't really think of as one of his best, but I definitely do. So check it out. It's easily available at bookstores. You can order it online. There's no shortage of Murakami. His stuff is always in print. So check out Sputnik Sweetheart. Tell me what you think. If you've already read it and you're watching this video, tell me about it in the comments, what your thoughts on it. Maybe you hated it. Maybe you thought it sucked. Maybe you're fucking wrong. Let me know. Or if you loved it, tell me that too. We can gush with praise together. So, definitely, if you haven't read it, check it out. If you have, tell me what you think. If you like what I do, please follow. And as they say on the YouTube, smash that subscribe button. I want more people. I want all the people to watch me. So. Because, nobody does, so I gotta have somebody watch it. So, anyway, please read it, please tell me what you think. Hope you guys like it, hope you guys check it out. And I'll definitely talk about more Murakami in the future. I don't know what the next Murakami will be. I don't even know what the hell the next review or vlog is going to be about. Maybe something I'm reading right now, which I'm reading 4 or 5 different things. So I'll have another video up soon. I don't know when. I don't know what it'll be about. I don't even know when I'll be able to do part 2 of the Flavia book I just did a video on. But it'll come out. Everything in due time. So thanks again for watching. I really appreciate it. You guys are fantastic. You're a phenomenal audience. And I'm glad you guys like hearing me ramble on about stuff that you've never heard of or don't care about. So to all 1 or 2 of you guys watching, thank you. I do this for myself, but it's a blast when other people are watching me do it. So, glad to have fans. So, I don't know how to end videos. It's okay. Sorry, I'm done talking. I'll see you guys later. I'll be up with another video soon. Bye.